Hello, this is Mr. Yang. I'm going to be teaching you factoring today, so we're going to continue on P3. And I'll show you two different ways to factor. This first video is going to be the longer but more effective way because you won't have to ever guess and check. But it is a little bit longer than the next video, so you can watch both videos and decide which way you want to factor. Alright, so before we factor, I just want you to know there's a trinomial, and it's always in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So a is the number next to x squared, b is the number next to x, and c is the constant, which is the number all by itself. Okay, so if we are going to factor, let's say 2x cubed minus 8x squared minus 42x. Okay, so if I'm going to factor this, the first thing I always look for is a common factor. So what a common factor is what do all three of these terms have in common? And if they have nothing in common, I will go ahead and start factoring my trinomial. So if I look here, they all have 2x in common, so I'm going to factor out a 2x. So if I pull out a 2x times what is 2x cubed, and that's x squared. I ask myself 2x times what is negative 8x squared, and that's negative 4x. And then I ask myself 2x times what is negative 42x, and that is negative 21. Okay, so now for the rest of the problem, I'm actually going to ignore the 2x and just keep bringing it down with me as the problem progresses. So I'm going to draw an x, and on the top I'm going to write a times c, and on the bottom I'm going to write b. I'm also going to put a times sign on the top and a plus sign to kind of remind me of what I'm going to do. So the top is going to be a times c. So like I said before, a is the number next to x squared. Well, I'm going to ignore the 2x, so the number next to x squared is 1. So it's going to be 1 times c. C is the number all by itself, so that is negative 21. Okay. I'm also going to look at b. B is the number next to x, so that is negative 4. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite my x again just for this first example. I know you don't have to always. Alright, so a times c is negative 21, b is negative 4. So I'm going to ask myself, the reason why I had that plus and times sign there, I'm going to ask myself what plus what will give me negative 4, and what times what will give me negative 21. Well, I know that if I have negative 7 and positive 3, negative 7 times 3 is negative 21, and negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to look at these two numbers, and I'm going to use these two to break up the negative 4x. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my polynomial. I'm going to bring down the 2x, and now I'm going to break up the negative 4x. So it's going to be x squared. I'm just going to rewrite this. And instead of negative 4x, now I'm going to write negative 7x plus 3x. And then I'm going to rewrite the constant, which is negative 21. So I've really done nothing but break up the negative 4x into negative 7x and positive 3x. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to look at these two, the first two parts, and I'm going to look at what they have as a common factor. Then I'm going to look at these two and look at what they have as a common factor. So I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look for a common factor. Then I'm going to look here. Same thing. I'm going to look at a common factor. Okay, so if I look, the common factor with x squared and negative 7x is x. So I'm going to pull out an x, and what I have left is x minus 7. Then I'm going to look at these two, and they have a 3 in common, so I'm going to pull out a 3. And when I factor out a 3, I will have x minus 7. Okay, it is important to note that these two have to be the same in order for factoring by grouping. This is called factor by grouping. So I group these two and I group these two. And if these two parentheses are the same, then whatever is outside the parentheses will become another parentheses. So I will have 2x. And I will obviously have the x minus 7. And then whatever is left is going to be the last parentheses, which is x plus 3. And that concludes factoring using the diamond way. And you can use this for almost every trinomial, and you don't have to guess and check.